Tonight we're going to be talking about double standards, and it's a hot topic. Got a little juicy celebrity, what do you call it? A current event to go along with the topic. I got my blog we're going to get into if you read it. Thank you for reading. Make sure you comment any of your thoughts, how you feel. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or any double standards that you've experienced. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So when I decided to write the blog on double standards, I had a conversation with a coworker of mine. And, we were just talking, girl talk, catching up, and she started to tell me about this issue that she was having with her fiance. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like, oh my goodness. Long story short, for those of you who haven't read the blog, let me just give you a quick synopsis. Her and her fiance had been together for a while. And one night he went out with his friends, just hang out with his boys or whatever. And he was sort of kind of trying to play like wingman, but really there to make sure his friends wasn't doing nothing crazy or whatever with any randoms. And he found himself, trying to entertain this girl so that her friend and his friend could, do their thing. And the conversation started to intrigue him. They started flirting. Like, it was really getting into more of a connection, chemistry type of situation, as opposed to just, I'm gonna just keep you talking so you're not cock blocking on your girlfriend. They ended up going home together, all four of them, and this man was like contemplating laying down with this girl and, cheating on his fiance. And so when he got home, he ended up not doing anything, kudos to him, but he ended up going home and telling his fiance what happened. Now, usually, honesty is a good thing, but she was kind of feeling like, if you didn't do anything, like, what was the point of you, like, raising my blood pressure and trying to, like, make me feel some type of way? And his whole argument was he was starting to reconsider if he was husband material, if he could be a husband, because what if, this temptation comes up again? What if I gotta be wingman again and I can't stop myself? He felt like he couldn't trust himself to be faithful. So he wanted to take a break. Now, normally it would have been like, all right, this is cool. So she was kind of feeling like, you know what, maybe you're right. If you want to go and explore and see if, being monogamous is really for you, then maybe I should give it a try. Do y'all know that this man had the audacity to tell this woman that when he says take a break, he means he take a break from the relationship, but she remained faithful to him because he not going for that? And I was flabbergasted, bewildered, like he couldn't be serious. I was like, girl, come on, like give me the true tea because this can't be it. And she started crying. She was just like, no, he was dead serious. Like he was really not trying to hear her, exploring being single. But she had to understand that as a man, that's what he felt he needed to do. And she had to be okay with it. And I'm just like, hold on a second. So you mean to tell me that I, a woman, and she's very attractive, she's beautiful. I mean, as attractive as I am, I'm supposed to go out with my friends and be faithful in a relationship that don't exist. Because when you out in these streets, we're not together. Like, that's sanctioned cheating. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And it just got me thinking, it's a lot of dudes out here that think like that. Like, there's a lot of dudes out here who their ideal situation would be to have that one, the one they know is going to hold them down, loyal, faithful, cook, clean, take care of their kids. But he still wants to be able to dibble and dabble in the outside life every once in a while. And I feel like that's not fair. And there's a lot of women who put up with situations like that. And I'm just here to tell you, sis, that that's not the life. That's not the way to go. And that's what we call a double standard. if it's good for the goose, something that we say in the Caribbean, if it's good for the goose, let it be good for the gander too. Which means that if it's okay for you to do, then it needs to be okay for me as well. Or we're not doing it. And I really felt bad for her because you could tell that she loved the guy. She wanted to marry him. She wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. They had just bought a home together. So a major commitment, you know. And now he's talking about he doesn't know if he could be a husband. And I really felt bad for her. And she's close to my age. She's only 3 years older than me. And, you know, for those of you who don't know, many of you do, I'm married as well. 5-year anniversary is in 12 days. Hallelujah. But it's hard out here. Like, in this day and age, being young and in a committed relationship, you feel as though there's something that you're missing because your single friends are out and about. And, you know, that's what he told her. You know, I'm tired of watching my friends get to have meaningless casual sex or having that thrill of not knowing which girl, you know, they're going to go home with for the night because they can just go around and meet Keisha and go talk to Kim and, you know, not have to worry about any backlash. And as females, I feel like we put up with a lot for the sake of being ride or die. Let me tell you something. I'ma die before I ride for a fool. And that man is a fool. Because if you can't recognize the woman that you have in front of you, then maybe you should go out and figure out what's out there for you. But don't have her sitting at home waiting for you to come back. You know, because she has a life to live as well. And I just find it funny that if the roles were reversed and she hit bro with the, I don't know if I can be a wife, but I'm going to just go out here and discover and see if I could do this. You wait here in this house that we bought together. Don't go out and talk to no girls. You still have to be faithful to you. Still my man, but I'm not your woman. I'm going to go be everybody else's woman for a little bit, but you're going to still belong to me. He would have packed his bags before she even began the story. He would have been gone. As she said, hey, babe, can we take a break? Before the could have come, the door would have been slamming in her face because men can't handle what they dish out, you know, and I'm sorry for all you gentlemen, you know, in this live, but it's a certified fact. You can't handle what you dish out. And women feel that they have to prove something, you know, like I got to be beat down and struggling or, you know, dealing with your cheating and taking care of your kids by myself and X, Y, and Z to be worthy of a man's love. And no, honey, that's not the case. There are men out here who will love you, not just because of what you do for them, but because of who you are as a woman by yourself. They see the independence and they love it. They see how you can beat face, get dressed, go out with your girls and have a good time. They love it. It's not intimidating. You know, so we have to recognize when we're dealing with men who are perpetrating a lifestyle that they couldn't take if the shoe was on the other foot. So that blog was difficult to write. You know, I asked my friend permission to tell her story anonymously. It was very difficult to write because I realized I was writing a lot of women's story. And the double standard that exists in relationships alone are very disheartening because gender bias plays into it. Misogynistic thoughts of, you know, what gender roles are supposed to be plays into it. And it's difficult for women to get out of it because then you're looked at as aggressive, too independent for a man to want to be able to take care of you. And you're so angry and bitter, you know, you're not going to find a man because you don't know how to let a man lead and blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to take crap, you know, for fear of being alone and not being aggressive. It's not being aggressive. It's having a voice and sticking up for yourself. And that's the difference. So we're going to talk about some other double standards that I've noticed in all relationships. How for some men, and we're going to go both ways. I'm not biased because women, we have ours too. But for some men, they don't ask their women to do certain things. Like it almost becomes an expectation or a hope or just a general knowledge that when you come home from work, The kids are homework's gonna be done. The kids are gonna be bathed. Dinner's gonna be cooked. You'll have something to eat. Household chores, laundry, dishes, everything's gonna be done, and you won't have to worry about it. You don't ever ask her to do those things. They get done. Whereas if a woman asks a man, hey, can you help me with the dishes? Or hey, can you do the laundry this week? All of a sudden, we don't see what they do. I'm out here working and trying to provide for my family. You know, that's not enough. And it's just like, I'm working. I'm helping to provide for this family. I'm making time to take her home, though. And what I'm asking is that you assist me with that. They don't want to hear that. Or they can go out late all night. Don't answer their phone. Don't text to check in. You hungry? You want me to bring you something back home? Are you okay? You need anything from the store? Nothing. They come home and why you didn't call me? Why you didn't check in? You said you was going to be home at 2, it's 4. Why you didn't let me know it was going to be late? Girl, stop bugging me. If you go out with your friends, ladies, and put that phone on Do Not Disturb, or you don't reply to text messages, or you don't call and update your ETA, they coming to look for you. They're going to be outside when you go to catch that Uber on your way home. They're going to be outside waiting for you, wondering why you wasn't communicating with them as to where you were and who you were with and when you was coming back. So we have to be able to recognize when these double standards are present, especially if you're in a committed relationship with somebody and you want that relationship to last long term. You have to call out the standards, the double standards, and make it known and make it plain. Look, I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong. But what I'm saying is, if that's what you're going to do and you don't want to answer to anybody, don't question me. Don't ask me what I'm doing, who I'm with, and where I've been. Because when I asked you that, you had a problem. Now, if you would like that information, understand and recognize that I'm going to come at you with the same questions, and I expect my loving man to give that to me. You know what I'm saying? So these relationship double standards, like, we got to call them what they are and cut the head off ASAP. Because if you let it go on, especially women, because men don't have a problem with speaking up on anything at any time. They're going to say it. Hurt your feelings, don't hurt your feelings. They're going to speak. Women, we tend to keep our mouth shut, especially early on in the relationship, because we don't want to come off as nagging. We don't want to come off as overbearing or angry or bitter or argumentative. But there are things that happen early on in relationships that kind of bother us or give us cause for concern. Bring it up then. Because 5-6 years down the line, they're going to be looking at you like, well, you didn't have a problem with this like 2 years ago. When I met you, you knew who you was with. You didn't have a problem with it then. And they're absolutely right in saying that. And they gathered you and got you together. And you can't say anything back because you should have spoken up. And it's something that I struggle with early on. And my husband can tell you. He hates when I hold stuff in. He knows my face like the back of his hand. And he'll say, what's wrong, Jaya? And me and all my petty and attitude, nothing. I'm good. I'm fine. Then 2 weeks later, I'm talking about something that he done already forgot about. He's not trying to hear what I have to say because he gave me the opportunity to speak up and I blew it. That's the other double standard. And that's for us on our side, ladies. This one's for us. Don't talk about how your man don't listen and he doesn't know how to communicate. But when he's trying to communicate with you, you're too stuck in your anger and, you know, you have your little attitude and you're being a little petty that you disregard him because you don't want to talk to him right now. If he's asking you, he wants to know. And you need to use that opportunity to tell him. Because next week when you're ready to talk about it, it's gone. Like, you're going to have to bring it all the way back. Like, so this is what happened Tuesday at 4 p.m. And he's going to, well, Tuesday at 4 p.m. has passed. And when I asked you about it, you didn't have anything to say. So communication goes both ways, women. We can't just want to talk when we're ready to talk. If he's asking and he's trying to start a conversation and he's trying to come to a resolution, you have to allow him to do that. And make sure that you take the opportunity to tell him like it is. Don't worry about sugarcoating and coming off as angry or nagging. If there's no attitude in your voice, if you're being respectful, if you're not calling anyone out of their name, don't let anyone tell you that you have an attitude problem or that you're being angry or you're being bitter. No, you're expressing yourself, okay? And every woman is entitled to expressing themselves because men do it all the time. And, you know, they don't want to hear nothing about be quiet or you doing too much. So that's my little relationship spiel. And I see y'all going off in the comments. Yes, my mom said we can't expect for men to read our minds. Absolutely. And if I had $1 for every time my husband told me that he can't read my mind, I would have paid for a house in cash right now. And I had to learn that the only way for him to know how I feel is if I tell him. Me thinking it and cussing him out in here isn't doing anything for the problem because I'm the only person that can hear it. And calm Jaya and petty Jaya going back and forth in my head isn't doing anything except further perpetrating the issue. So when he wants to know what's going on, I have to tell him. So, you know, just putting that on the table. If that's something that you struggle with, starting tonight, try it. If he asks you, oh, what's wrong with your face? You look like something's wrong. And you mad because he walked past the sink full of dishes this afternoon and you can't figure out why he did that, tell him. I find it, you know, a little concerning. You know, you walked past the dishes this morning. Is there a reason why you couldn't wash them? You know, and talk about it. Oh, well, I didn't know you wanted me to wash them. And that's another thing. Men, you got to lay things out for men, point blank, period. Like, you have to give them step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. You can't just tell them, I need help around the house. Because what they're going to do is, they're going to pick up a plastic bottle and put it in the trash. They're going to put the cereal away. And they're going to check, helped around the house, check. No, if help around the house for you means that you need help with dishes once a week, then you have to tell him, babe, can you please help me wash dishes every Tuesday? That's going to be your night. And I promise you, he's going to wash dishes every Tuesday because that's what you asked him to do. Asking him to help you wash the dishes is not going to do anything because he's going to wash the dishes in December. And then when you ask him to wash them in March, he's going to be like, what? So I never wash the dishes? No, you got to tell him. Can you help me wash the dishes every week? Let's just say Monday, Wednesday, Friday's my day. Tuesday, Thursday, you got it. And communication is about laying all the cards on the table. Because if you're thinking it, you should say it respectfully. If you're thinking it, you should say it. So if you need help washing dishes and taking the trash out and folding the laundry, then you have to tell him, I need help washing the dishes, taking the trash out, and doing the laundry. And for the men here listening, you can't complain that she doesn't communicate and she doesn't lay it out for you and, you know, give you all the information. And then when she does, you still don't participate in what she's asking of you because you're going to cause her to go and retreat right back into herself. And then there ain't going to be no communication. Because me, you only got to tell me one time. You only have to show me one time. Only have to show me one time you don't want me. Only have to tell me one time I'm annoying. And then guess what? You will never get another opportunity to say it again. If you tell me, oh, you nagging too much, or you talking to me too much about that, you won't hear a peep from me for 2 weeks. Oh, I'm talking too much? Okay. I ain't saying nothing else. So be fair to her. If you're asking her something and she's giving it to you, accept it and say, you know what? You did what I asked. I'm going to help you out with this. And we're going to get these dishes done. Or make it a couple thing. If you feel overwhelmed, you know, let's say, for example, Ramara, you feeling overwhelmed with washing the dishes. And you know that if you leave it up to your husband, it may not get done. Do it together. Well, I'll wash and you dry. So now y'all are holding each other accountable because you're standing right there next to each other doing it. So those are some little tidbits for double standards in relationships. One thing I really, really, really want to get into with this double standard thing, and this is an issue that's close to my heart, and I'm sure it's close to a lot of women's heart. And it has to do with sex and how men and women view sex differently and the double standard that surrounds sex. And I'm going to talk about it in two parts, okay? I'm going to talk about how women, we don't get to sow oats, okay? You can't do that. Don't do that. Because if you do that, matter of fact, not even if you sow oats, you don't even have to be sleeping with a dude. If you're seen talking to too many dudes at once, guess what you are? Guess. You a hoe. That's what you are. You're promiscuous. You're a slut. You're ran through. But when a guy is seen talking to shorty on Tuesday, then he have his Wednesday chick, and then he have the twins that he sees on Friday, he's the man. Okay? He's the man, and all the women, they are fighting for their spot in the rotation. Because for some reason, women find that attractive. They find it attractive when a man has multiple women around him, when he's seen fraternizing with all these different types of women. But when a woman is seen that way, she's a pariah. And men literally have group chats, okay? They have text messages and meetings and gatherings and seminars, okay, about stay away from her because my brother done had her. My cousin, walked her to the grocery store 3 years ago. She shared a crayon with my nephew Billy in the 3rd grade. She's not to be trusted. Stay far away from her because she's not wifey material. Can't wife that. You're gonna be embarrassed in these streets if you wife that. But I mean, men, it's open season for them. It's free for them, and I feel like it's not fair. And women, we have to get to a place where that narrative doesn't bother us because it's not going to change. The narrative is not going to change. It's been what it is since day one. It's not going to change. You just have to be in your bag, like deep in your Birkin. Like, you know what? I don't care because I know what I'm doing. I know who and who I didn't lay down with. Okay? And no rumors because it's very childish for a group of men to be talking about a woman anyway. So no childish conversation is going to make me embarrassed about the life that I choose to live. And as women, we have to stop vilifying other women for what we perceive as bad behavior. Because first of all, it's not your business. And second of all, you don't know her story. Okay? You don't know what she's gone through. You don't know the path that she's had to take to get to where she is. You don't know the experiences that she's had to endure that may have caused her to make the choices that she makes in life. It's very sad, and I was guilty of it up until about 2 or 3 years ago. If I really saw some behavior, I was talking, and I was talking bad, and I apologized publicly. But once I decided to start really building women up and being a part of the whole women empowerment movement, and not even just necessarily feminism or anything like that, but just the sisterhood, like looking at my fellow woman, whether I know her or not, and bigging her up. And if I have a criticism of something that she's doing, pulling her to the side and having a conversation with her and asking her the questions that I need to get that background if she's willing to answer them. Not going and carrying on a conversation over here with 2 other childish women behind her back. We're part of the problem as well. As females, nobody is going to protect us but us. First and foremost, and especially Black women. We are the most hated demographic on this earth. I said what I said, and I'm going to say it again. Black women are the most hated demographic on earth. Okay? So we have to form our own little community of uplifting because nobody else is going to do it for us. not other women of other races, not men, even in our own race, especially not men of other races. We have to protect ourselves. And we can't do that if we're tearing each other down. So, stop talking about what another woman is doing with her JJ, because it's not your business. And secondly, men, the judgment that you're passing on women based on rumors or based on something that you said and deduced on your own, because women aren't the only ones that jump to conclusions. Let me just put that out there. The judgment that you pass isn't doing anything except limiting your pool of women to get to know, whether it be romantically, platonically, anything. I feel like any person that we meet has the opportunity to leave us with something. It could be good or it could be bad, but a lesson is always going to be learned. And when you pass judgment on somebody based off of something that you heard or an assumption that you made, you are robbing yourself of the opportunity to form a connection. And I feel like as men, you need more women around you who can help you understand when you're dealing with somebody. Like, I have one male friend, like one like true male friend. And he tells me all the time, being friends like with me, like having a genuine female friend helps him in his relationships with other women. Because sometimes no one can tell you what she's thinking except for another woman if she's not going to tell you herself. Especially if you haven't created the atmosphere for her to be honest. Because women have a hard time being honest about their past because they feel that men will just drop and leave them. And that goes back to what I said at the beginning. Men cannot take what they dish out. You'll sit with your woman and openly talk about your past and not care. You don't care how she feels about it. You talking. Even if she's around with you and your boys and y'all reminiscing about somebody that you smashed in the dorm or this girl that you took out when you know you didn't really want to be with her, but you just wanted to see, you know, what your dudes was talking about. Or if a girl wasn't what she turned out to be and, you know, y'all are just talking about it, you know, negatively and joking and chopping it up and your girl is sitting there, you just made her put up a wall because she's seeing how you talk about women who may have a past similar to what she's going through. And you don't know her story. So she can't be honest with you because she's seen how you've acted when females have been honest with you in the past. So you can't pass judgment. And you don't get to determine who's wifey material. You can determine who's wife. You can determine what you like, your standards. But you don't get to determine the wifey standard. You can determine who your wife is. You can pick who your wife is. But there's no such thing as wifey material. There's no blueprint for a wife. A man's wife is for him. I don't look like someone else's wife. I don't act like someone else's wife. I don't talk like someone else's wife. I don't dress like someone else's wife. So you can't look at me and say, because everybody knows that I love a good outfit and I love a good time. You can't look at me and say, oh, well, my wife wouldn't be dressed like that. Well, guess what? I ain't your wife. So now what? Where do we go from here? Because I'm not your wife. And I'm glad I'm not. Because you giving me real controlling vibes right now. A man's wife is for him. You don't get to determine what the blueprint for a wife is. That woman and that man do. They decide what their relationship is going to look like. And if it's cool with them, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. So that's that on that. The other portion of this sex double standard. And I'm sure a lot of my like-aged audience has seen this. But it's been a video that's gone viral, and I've since learned that it's an old video, but that don't matter. There's a video that's gone viral by Southern rapper. Let me get into my gossip reporter stance. By Southern rapper Boosie. And in said video, he is openly, boldly, audaciously, and confidently admitting that he paid a grown woman, a woman of adult age, a seasoned woman, to perform oral sex on his son and nephew, who were the ages of 12 and 13. I'm going to let that marinate for a second. Boosie paid a grown-up to put her mouth on the private part of minors, of babies, 12 and 13. And this man facilitated that act. So, of course, social media has been an uproar. I mean, what? He did what? And then on the other side, it's, well, I did that. I lost my virginity by my mama's best friend. And every comment that I've read, and I've read hundreds, if not thousands of comments, every comment that I've read that has either justified or agreed with what happened came from men. Not one woman who commented on this situation that I've read was in agreement with what happened. Every single comment that I read that agreed with this man came from another man. And it made me sad. It broke my heart. It broke my heart, for one, because you're going to be stupid in public to where people can see, like on the internet. Save that for your private life. Be stupid in private. Don't be stupid in public. And then don't be proudly stupid. But it also broke my heart because who hurt you to the point where you think that this is okay? And every comment started with, well, when I was, this happened to me. So if I shoot somebody and then somebody else shoots me, does that no longer make the fact that I shot somebody wrong because I also got shot? No, it's still wrong. Just because it happened to you also doesn't mean that you were not also raped, that you were not also molested, that you were not also violated. Exactly. My mom said, turn the tables and let that have been his 12 and 13-year-old daughter with grown men and see how the story changes. Oh, that man would be dead. I guarantee you, that man would be dead. No trial, no arrest, no 25 to life. He would be dead where he stood. And it exposes how much we haven't been there, supported, uplifted, and allowed our little black boys to be boys. In this society, once you turn about 7, they don't see you as a little black boy anymore. You a man, and you're a threat. Don't cry. Men don't cry. And you're a man. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was having a little technical difficulty. But when our boys are young, we don't allow them to be in touch with their emotions. You know, they can't cry. And the men in their life especially teach them from a young age what they think a man is supposed to be. And it doesn't involve crying. It doesn't involve whining. And it also doesn't involve complaining or, you know, making it a negative thing when an older woman approaches you and is inappropriate. I don't make comments about babies and little boys. Oh, you're going to be a problem when you get older. I'm going to have to keep you away from my daughters. Oh, you're my husband. I don't talk like that, because it more so pushes an agenda on the child. And it already starts to program them that it's normal for older women to be talking to him like that. And that's not normal. And it's not cute either. It's nasty. And the whole cougar thing, I don't even know how I feel about that either, because at a certain point, people are going to cross paths. I mean, if a man is 25 and is a 40-year-old woman that's trying to holler, you know, ain't nothing anybody can do. That man is grown. But if you're 20 and you're looking at 14 and 13-year-olds, you're kind of crazy. You're kind of crazy and you're doing too much. And we need to make it okay for our sons and our nephews and our little cousins and our little brothers to come to us and tell us that makes them uncomfortable, and we not tell them, oh, you should be proud. That's weird. It's nasty. It's not okay. And for a man to so colorfully defend the fact that he did this because it's some rite of passage, it just blows the whole brokenness wide open. And it's going to start with a lot of these men now who hope to have sons in the future. It's going to start with them. Because right now, all we can do is try to make it better for the next generations. Because trying to explain to a 17-year-old, trying to explain to a 24-year-old, trying to explain to a 30-year-old that when he lost his virginity to Miss Pam across the street when he was 14 is rape, they're going to look at you crazy. Yes, Estelle said, the sad reality is that some of us women are the ones instilling this mindset in our sons. And I'm going to get some people mad. But guess what? I'm grown. Single mothers, I'm talking to you now. So listen up. If you are a single mom to a son, that is not your king. That's not your little sexy man. You don't parade him around your friends and around other grown women talking about how sexy he is. And doesn't he look so fine in this outfit that I bought him? Your son is not your king. Do you know what the definition of a king is? Especially when you're talking about you the queen. You the queen of your son's life. That means that y'all are married and you're together. That's how that works. He's not your king. He's not your husband. That's not your man. He was not put inside of your stomach to take care of you. He was not put inside of your belly to replace the man that left you. Okay? His father left. This is true. But that son of yours is not about to take his place. He's not the man of the house. He's a child. He's a child. And it's not cute either when you are trying to find love and that child of yours wants to puff up his chest and talk about who man of who house he is. And any man that wants to get to my mom needs to go through me. Which part? Which part? And that's not cute either. That's a child that's crying out for help and attention, and that's something that you need to deal with separately. That's a conversation you need to go and sit down with him and have and figure out, what the problem is. If you're moving too fast or, if something else is going on. But we don't just allow that and think that that's cute. We have to allow our boys to be boys, to be children, to have that innocence. It's not our job to take it away from them. And let me say this, because a lot of the male argument was, but y'all were congratulating Dwayne Wade though. And let me say this, regardless of what your feelings are about transgender, about LGBTQ community, whatever your opinion is, I am always going to applaud a parent who sticks up for their child in the face of public backlash. Every single time. I don't care what the topic is. If your child isn't out here killing people, isn't out here doing drugs, isn't out here being crazy, and they're doing something, and you back them up because you're trying to protect them from a world who don't care about them, I'm going to applaud you. Regardless of how I feel on the issue. And I don't feel no ways because that's not my child and that's not my business. Children are killing themselves because when they come out to their parents or their friends or their family members about a choice that they've made, whether you agree or not, to vilify them, to allow them to be publicly shamed and not speak up for them, babies are killing themselves. As young as 6, 7, and 8 years old, they are killing themselves. And we don't know what conversation they had with this child off of social media. You don't know that. But what I do see is a black man standing up for his black child when black children are being killed in the street. So I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. Yes, absolutely I am. But a man admitting to the world that he facilitated children he's responsible for, he facilitated their rape and molestation. I'm not allowed to be angry at that because I'm happy that a black man backed up his black child. The two are not even connected. They're not even the same. They're on separate islands. And any community service or charity that someone is doing doesn't make them immune from being dumb as hell. Because apparently Boosie got water, okay? Apparently he bottles pure water. Let me tell you something. I drink tap, and I will drink cat piss before I support a man who is out here prostituting his children. And I'm going to turn a blind eye because he quenches thirst. Jesus quenches thirst, okay? That's the only thirst quencher I care about. We're not just going to be cool with it. because it's been going on and it happened to me and I'm okay. You're not. You're not okay, because if you were, you would see how wrong this is. When it comes to sex and gender, there's a serious conversation that needs to be had as to why responsibility is put on females to protect their purity, but we don't instill that same knowledge in our boys. And it's across the board. I've sat in many of sermon where Mr. Bishop, preacher man, ran up and down the Old and New Testament. What makes a virtuous woman and a good wife? I haven't heard a single sermon to date in my 24, almost 25 years of life, and where we got not a husband blueprint, a boyfriend blueprint, a baby daddy blueprint, not nothing. Not nothing. But a man preacher, a man pastor can tell me, a woman person, people, how to be a wife. You been one? Do you appreciate the one you have? Are you telling your son how to appreciate it when he gets it? Or are you just concerned about what I'm doing? The responsibility that is put on women to be everything and be nothing at the same time is astounding. And that's been my mantra for the last year to year and a half. I am convinced women are expected to be everything and nothing at the same time. And there is no responsibility whatsoever on men to match that energy. Which is why when you find one that matches that energy, hold on and appreciate him, because he learned that from another woman. And I'm gonna put that out there too. Fathers, mothers, sisters, whoever, we have to stop teaching our men what to look for without also teaching them how to appreciate it and deserve it. Yeah, my tea kettle is on boil tonight. It's on boil, okay? Stop teaching men what to look for and how to recognize it without also teaching them how to appreciate it and deserve it. Because until that second part is addressed, we're going to continuously have double standards in our relationships. Until you learn to appreciate and do your best to deserve the good things that are given to you, you will always undervalue it and be ungrateful. And that's with anything, not even just relationships. I know what a nice car looks like. It's easy for me to look at a car and say, oh, that's nice. But if I don't know how to take care of it, I don't deserve that car. I shouldn't go near that car. Because in about 6 months, I'm going to destroy it and damage it and leave it beaten and bruised and then move on to the next nice car. Because now it's not nice to me anymore. Because I trashed it. The only way that we'll be able to minimize, eradicate any sort of double standard is if we take notice of the ones that we perpetrate. Period. I have to say that, and I just told my mom this earlier, starting this business, starting this brand, doing the groundwork, I mean, I was writing blogs and putting things in place and, coming up with content up to a year before I launched. In doing that, I exposed some issues within myself. I exposed some of my own bias against my own gender. I've recognized some double standards that I play a part in, some double standards that I've been victim to. And every single epiphany that I've had made me realize that it's nothing that anyone is doing to me that I'm not allowing. So if you want it to stop, make it stop. And it's easier said than done because there's a whole lot that goes into changing your situation. First of all, you have to want it to change. And you have to really want it to change. Not to just change for a moment, but to permanently change. And you have to make the sacrifices that come with that, which means walking away from that man or that woman, leaving behind that friend or those friends. And it's hard. I mean, at the start of 2020, I had about 2.5 friends because I had to drop some weight. I had to drop some weight and let it go because I was being something to people that those people were not capable of being back to me. That's called a double standard. And if it wasn't a double standard, they would have said, hey, Jaya, I don't like what you're doing. You're too nice. I don't like that. I don't like that you're there for me whenever I need it. Stop that. It's outrageous. We don't do that. But they weren't doing that. They were taking, accepting, living in the glory, of knowing that there were people there that would take care of them. People that would drop anything to be there for them. But they weren't given that energy. But if people were to do them how they were doing people, they turned victim. Double standard. I'm really excited for the places that this venture is going to take me. I'm excited for the people that it's going to expose me to. I'm excited for the conversation starters that it's going to produce. And I'm excited for the upset it's going to bring. Because it's time to be honest. And it's time to be 110% real. And because this venture is dedicated to women, that's who I'm going to be speaking to. Not to say that men can't learn anything from my spiels. But women, it's our time. It's our time now. And I feel like now more than ever, it's something in the air. Like, women are just for no BS. Like, nuh-uh, not anymore. And we need to take advantage of what's happening. Because people are starting to listen. People are starting to listen. And I think we have a lot to say. What time is it? How long have I been on live? I be chatting. Does anybody have the time? I can't see the time on this live. Okay. So, I want to thank you guys for keeping my comment section very lit. Let me just go through some of these comments and see if I missed anyone. Oh, yes. Kiki's comment. I don't know if she's still on, but I had made a comment about single moms and their sons. And yes, she's absolutely right. She said not all of us, but she did have to put a couple of people in check for her son. And we need more single moms of boys like her. I mean, she's not single no more. She's about to be a whole wife, okay? But we need more moms who are willing to do that. Stick up for your children so that they can see that, oh, okay, mom's not cool with this, dad's not cool with this, so it must not be cool. Like, we need that. And you're absolutely right, not all, but it's a lot of them. And we need to make sure that they know we're not going to stand for it anymore. We got to let kids be kids, yes. My girl Jasmine, all the way from Florida, she said, we put the responsibility on boys to be the man of the house at a young age because we are raising our sons to be men, just like they put pressure on little girls to become domesticated. Also, what about fathers who have died and the boys feel they need to step up even though the mother doesn't ask that of them? And that's a good point. Sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with the women. Boys sometimes just feel like, especially if they had a good man around, one who's there and present and, you know, there for them, was a good role model. When that role model is no longer there, they sometimes feel like they have to fill that void or else the house won't continue to run as smoothly as it did. And as a village, moms, grandmas, aunties, siblings, if you have them, that's when you're supposed to embrace that boy and let him know that that pressure doesn't fall on him. That's not his job. His job is to be a child. His job is to be a kid. His job is to have a childhood. And that's all that you can ask of him. You know, it's easy for them to get caught in those feelings, but we have to be the ones to uplift them and let them know it's not your responsibility. And that's not what your dad would have wanted for you, because that's not why you're here. You have to forge your own path, and you don't stop being a child because you lost somebody. Certain situations in life do cause us to grow up faster than we would like, but it's up to those around you to make you put the brakes on that and say, you know what? How about we go to therapy and talk about it? So that you don't feel like you have to put on some sort of persona to get over what you're feeling. And you don't have to busy yourself with now trying to be, you know, stand-in husband and dad because someone left you or someone died. It's all about recognizing the signs and making sure that they know that it's okay for you to still be a kid. Bad things happen. There are certain cards we get dealt that are unfair. But that doesn't remove your innocence. You're still 12. You're still 7. And you need to live that life, not the life of an adult. Because you're not mentally, emotionally, or physically ready for what that brings. Let's see. Oh, yes, to my comments about pastors on the pulpit making wives. Jasmine said, as long as they can find a verse in the Bible to go with their stance, nothing else matters. And the sad part about that is some of them don't even know the context in which those verses were written. But that's another conversation. It's one thing to read the Bible. It's another thing to come up with your own interpretation for what you read. That's not knowing your Bible. That's just knowing how to read. Yes, I want to thank you guys so much for being such a engaging audience. I think This was good. This was good. It's good to see so many women in the comments uplifting and encouraging. And we just have to keep that up. It's hard sometimes. You want to get the gossiping. You want to get to talking mess. But I think we have to become intentional and not doing that. Even behind closed doors when you think no one's watching. Let's not talk about each other. Let's not bash each other. Let's uplift each other. Let's learn about each other. And that's all that I Am Woman is about. Creating and learning through sisterhood. I want to learn about you. I want to grow with you. I want to create with you, regardless of what your background is. If we have the same background, cool. If we are polar opposites, I don't care. I want you to be my sister. I want to be your friend. I want to connect with you. And I hope that all of you will continue to be engaging. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Join my Facebook group if you haven't already. Follow my YouTube channel. I will add all of those things in the comments after we get off of the live. And keep a lookout for everything that I have going on. I have some very exciting things in the works. So keep a lookout for that. Oh yes, I like that idea. Miss Estelle said maybe we can also do a Zoom session so we can engage more fully. And I have thought about that, and I have a very special topic for that. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. Also, if you haven't, subscribe to my newsletter on my website so you can keep up to date with the blogs that I post, because a lot of my lives will be in conjunction with blog posts that I've written, topics that I've talked about. And just shoot me an email or a DM or what do you call it? A messenger, just to let me know any topics that you want to talk about. Oh yes, Jasmine, we got merch coming. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to take care of y'all because y'all have taken care of me. And it's because of all of you lovely people that I am here and I have the confidence to do something like this. So I want to thank you all for joining. Hi, Miss Renelli. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're a busy woman. You got a lot going on, so don't even worry about it. Mommy, no. You can't see Kennedy. Call her on WhatsApp when we're done. Because if she comes over here, y'all going to be on here for 2 more hours. But yes, thank you for joining. This was great. Stay tuned for the next one. Keep the conversation going in the comments. And as always, if no one told you today, I love you. Peace out.